Somebody contacted me the other day and they had a really sad story, and I thought, oh, I'm going to monetize it.
A better you starts today.
Look, they were more or less talking about how they lost everything. Have you ever felt like that? Probably when you were 5 years old and you spilled an ice cream. I still remember it. It was a good strawberry ice cream. But then there's other points in your life where you think, oh my God, my place in life, what am I doing? No. They think that a lot of the time when you've lost everything, all of it is just a blur. It's mostly just, and this is the scientific studies on this before we go into what you can do if you legitimately have lost everything, which, come on, are you one of those guys doing the crackhead yoga in the United States with over on the side because they've lost everything? Well, they probably still got some crack left, and so they're still good for the next 20 minutes. But after that, I will say this about losing everything. The reason that you feel that you have lost everything usually is because of, and I want you to write this down, a perceived loss in status. That's what it boils down to. More or less, when people lose their money in the stock market, they've noticed that it's not what kills them, that it's like, oh my God, I'll never be able to work in Starbucks, or I'll never be able to get a rental property with my extremely good qualifications from Harvard or whatever. It's not that. It's, oh my God, I'm going to have to work in fucking Starbucks. And then they kill themselves. Right? That's why they do it. It's usually when you are somebody that is just like, I've lost everything. What you are saying is, I thought I was up here and now I'm down there. That's what you're thinking. Every single time. Every single time you're just like, what did it all mean? What was it all for? Really, all that's happening is you thought you were up here and life corrected you. You're actually down here. It's not nice, is it? Even talking about it right now, you think, yeah, okay. I mean, everybody else, right? We've all felt that way. Every last one of us. I have felt it many a time in my career. Oh, this comedian got a leg up. Fuck them. Why does this YouTuber get so many views? Screw that. Goddamn baby channels with their 60 million views just for showing a dinosaur eat another dinosaur. I could have done that. But what happens in the end? You change the story in your head. That's usually what happens. Usually what happens is, the reason that you stop feeling like that is, you start focusing on another way in which you feel like you're the shit. That's it. And it kind of just becomes like an adaptation of the circumstances that you're around. So, just know, I know this is probably the most unsympathetic way to start these videos, but just know that anytime that you feel like you've lost everything, usually what it is that you've lost one thing, and that one thing was really attached to your sense of self, and now that you don't have that sense of self, it feels like it's and just ripped out of your soul. And that's the feeling of, I've lost everything. Very few people have lost everything. You know, most people haven't been bombed in Iraq and their entire family died. Their entire family was over for dinner and only they were able to struggle out of the rubble. Most people haven't been there. And then, when they've struggled out of the rubble, they also, most of them weren't quadriplegics after that. You know, the idea of losing everything is a massive exaggeration in your head. And the reason that you don't want that exaggeration there is, as Tony Robbins always says, you want to see the problem what it is and not worse than what it is. You want to be seeing the problem for what it is. You don't want to be seeing the problem for what it's worse. Because what is that? That is just completely disempowering. Completely, makes you not see the opportunities that are in front of you. But I'll also say this. When it comes to this specific subject. If you are in that mindset of I've lost everything, it'll happen. It will happen. It'll become self-fulfilling prophecy. I have seen it so many times with YouTubers that you're watching them, they start getting some negative feedback, they pull further into the negative feedback. I know because I do it all the time. You pull further into the negative feedback and then you lose more. That's how it goes. That spiral starts moving in. And that's why you don't ever want to be seeing it as I've lost everything. You never want to be looking at it like that. But now I'll start with a more sympathetic part. 5 minutes in. That was a very stupid way to do it. I should have put the tough love at the end. But I will say this. Everybody in life has their ups and downs. Absolutely everybody. Every single person that you think, oh my God, they've been killing it, you go read their story and there was many, many years where they weren't. And I'm not talking, look, you think that it's just like, I was a struggling actor and now I'm Ryan Gosling, hell yeah. But if you look at the trajectory of his career, he was the shit for a moment and then he couldn't get a role to save his life and then he lucked it out on some indie ones and now he's the shit again. Same thing with Robert Pattinson. Same thing with virtually every single Hollywood actor. I really can't think of one that has just been like permanently killing it apart from Tom Cruise. That's it. That's the only one. I guess like, yeah, okay, Tom Cruise is easily the greatest man that's ever lived. There's no, you're not him. Everybody else does have that. They have ups and downs in their careers. And the reason that they do have their downs, I personally believe, and maybe it's just a way of me coping through the universe, but I think it's just this thing of like, okay, your purpose in that specific role is done. It's time for you to discover your new purpose. And the only way that you can discover your new purpose is if there is an ego breakdown. You can't just keep killing it in the same field forever. I think because of the external world that is endlessly impacting on you. If you are just endlessly killing it in that one field, guess what? That thing has already been done. It has been birthed into the world. The world needs new things. That's why I think that you have these sort of like renaissance moments in your life. I think that it is just you getting broken down, as in your self-concept of what you are, because you always delude yourself into, I'm this. I am an Indonesian politician. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I'm an Indonesian politician. And then there's an uprising, and then all of a sudden you're a rice farmer. And now all of a sudden it's just like, no, you know what I am now? I'm an Indonesian pilot on Air Indonesia. I hope it's called that. And so you start forming into that. It's sort of this like atom smashing of yourself so that you can get rebuilt. I think that it's very important to understand that. First off, it is never, ever, always going to be up. And what's cool about that is everybody else is in that same boat. And when they are in the down period, that's the opportunity to become something else. That's the opportunity to become something greater. I mean, look at me. When I first started this, I just wanted to be a comedian. I mean, I did that. And I've done it quite successfully, actually. Now that I'm looking at my sales in comparison to most other Australian comedians, Jesus Christ, Friendly Geordies is hanging on pretty well in comparison to the rest of them, especially the Melbourne Comedy Festival. But look, that's for another self-help video. I'm going to be talking about this now, which is that, look, I started out as that, and then I think I became a political commentator. I think that I really helped shape the narrative of a generation. I think that as a result of shaping that narrative of a generation, I've permanently had an impact on every generation since then. And then on top of that, I did some pretty nuts shit that I think that you know if you follow Friendly Geordies. And let's be honest, you don't even know half of it. Every single time in those moments, though, it was sort of just like an add-on to what I had previously. Which is why I'm saying, one, it is not productive for you to ever think that you have lost everything. You haven't lost everything. There is still a core of you that was able to be built up, that made you who you were, so that you were able to be built up to that level. And then the next stage after that is that is going to be broken down a little bit. Still the core of it's going to be there, and then something else will be built over the top of it. It's just life. I bet you that if you go back, and in fact, I want you to think about this right now. When was a time that happened? When was a time that you just got atom smashed and then you grew back as something else? Something better. And while you're doing that, I also would like you to sign up to my Patreon so that you can get up to 3 extra videos a week. They're good. They really are. I challenge you to find a better use of your money literally on planet Earth than Jordan Shanks' Patreon. Like in terms of bang for buck, for what you get, for how cheap it is, show me something. Show me anything else that you can buy with your $2. I'll wait. No, I won't. I'll get out of here. Come to the seminars as well. I'll link them in the bottom.